Take a look at both of these goals. They're goals that I have recently conceded. I'm manager of Sundowns in South Africa and we should be absolutely unbeatable. Such a good team. But I keep conceding silly goals. And sometimes these silly goals are costing me points. But all these goals are very similar and I need to stop them happening. And there is something that I can do. Let's find out what it is. Let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to FM with Old Man Phil, and if you are a brand new visitor, I'm Phil and welcome to the channel. As you can see, I'm currently managing Sundowns in Pretoria in South Africa. We are top of the league. We are clearly the best team in the league, but as you can see from this, we are the best team in terms of defending and we are the best teams in terms of attacking. Goals conceded, only 9 this season. I would expect that of this team, but there are certain things that we are doing in order to make sure that the amount of goals that we concede is minimal. So if you remember the series of videos that we did on how to become the best defending team in your league, you'll know that we noted there are 2 ways in which the opposition score goals. 2 ways in which everybody scores goals in football. And this one that we're going to look at now is an example of the first way that teams score goals. So what we're looking at here is the goalkeeper has just caught a corner without any problems whatsoever, and he's about to launch it up the pitch. Now we're getting players back in time for him to kick it long, and as you can see, he kicks it long, paws it here, and this looks like a situation which is not dangerous. I have 3 players around the ball. I have 4 players if you include the centre back here. We seem to have enough cover to take care of any danger. This fullback here is the last man, and so Rivaldo decides to leave it to the last man. Pause it here. Moreno has made a dreadful error. He's lost the ball and we are now exposed at the back, and the opposition go on and score. And so that is an example of a defender causing a goal to be scored. Now clearly either his decision making or his first touch or his concentration let him down. He made a very simple error and created an opportunity for the opposition. This was not the opposition creating a chance. This was us making an error. This was an example of how an individual error can create a problem and lead to the opposition scoring a goal. But we are not going to focus on individual errors today. There is also a team error. And that is when the team gets out of shape and leaves space for the opposition to exploit, and then they go ahead, exploit that space, and we suddenly find that they've scored. And so what we'll do is take a look at one of those goals again, and we'll just examine what actually happens here. Okay, so once again, the opposition goalkeeper has the ball, and he's about to launch it long. Pause it here. And you can see we've defended that very easily. We have 6 people within the vicinity at the back. We've defended that extremely well. And now we can build an attack. Now we don't counterattack. We just play the ball nice and short. We're very patient in our build-up and we're waiting for an opportunity. And so we're not getting bodies up the pitch, getting ourselves into problems. We're waiting for the correct opportunity to launch an attack. So we're being very patient and it's looking very nice. We're trying to draw the opposition onto us and passing the ball around, frustrating the opposition. It looks very good for me from here. Kumalo picks up the ball then and makes an error. And if we just pause it here, now we can see we have somehow managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players up the field. If we look at the players who are back, we have 1, 2, 3 of them with their back to the play now, and they are having to try to get back as the opposition launch a counterattack. Move it on a little bit now. We are in serious trouble here. If we just pause it here, we have a 4-on-2, 5 if you include the winger out wide. We're in big trouble, and the problem has been caused because we have got men too far up the field. Despite the fact that we do not counterattack, we have got players out of position. And if we actually have a look at the team instructions that we put out, we tell our players not to counterattack. No, and that means that they are not supposed to be bombing up the pitch. And that is fine. We are not counter-attacking, but we are still getting bodies forward. And when that goal was scored, we had far too many bodies forward. And this happens a lot in games for me late on in the game. And we may have got a 2 or a 3 or sometimes even 4 goal lead. We are throwing bodies forward. My players tend to think the game is won. They get bodies forward, leaving gaps at the back. And then when we turn the ball over, then the opposition can counter, and we are often left with only 2 against 3 or 2 against 4, as you saw there at the back. And so what's happening, if you actually click that counterattack button, you can see, and counterattack is a fast-paced movement. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players will be launching themselves up the pitch into attacking positions. And counterattack is one of the most dangerous things that you can click in FM. Once you commit to that, you are only going to leave 2 or 3 players back to defend should the ball be turned over. And what you saw with that last goal was the player's pass was poor. Everybody had gone forward, leaving big spaces at the back, and we got caught out. And we are the best defensive team in the league because we do not put counter on and we do not put counter press on. Having looked at their players' ability, they neither have the ability to counter press and they don't have the ability to counter attack either. So it would be foolish to put these on. This one here, counter-attack, would be the most foolish one. I do believe this is the most dangerous button to click in FM. This can pull you way up the field. It can pull 7 or 8 players up into the final third of the pitch. If one of your players makes a poor pass, makes a poor decision, then it will expose you at the back, and if they are a counter-attacking team, you'll find yourself conceding goals. And when we tested this with Arsenal, you would expect, given the talent in that team, that in terms of their attributes, they would be able to counter-attack and they would be able to counter-press. Well, not so. And when we did the demos for Arsenal, this is what we found in the first one. And so this is the first example that we did, and Arsenal, as you can see here, are the 3rd best team in the league. They are currently lying 2nd in the league, 6 points behind the leaders, and tactically what they are doing is they are counter-pressing and they are counter-attacking. What happened when we reran the trial and took those 2 things off? Well, what happened, and we are at exactly the same point in the season now, what happened was, as you can see, Arsenal are now top, although Liverpool can go top if they win their game in hand. But not only are they the best in terms of goals scored, but now they are the best in terms of goals conceded. And tactically, now we have taken both of those things off. Now, these 2 things are very, very dangerous. And I would say especially the counter-attack, because these 2 things will pull your team out of shape. And you can see from the description of counter will ask players to immediately go on the attack and to seek to take advantage of any opportunity left by the dispossessed opponents. Now, when you go on the counter-attack, if you lose the ball, then you also are going to be subject to counter-attack. And if you have far too many players wandering up into the final third, then you're going to be caught out at the back. And this is what is happening to me. And I need to think of a way to solve that problem. And so how do I solve this problem? Well, one of the things that I have started to do is when this starts to happen, now there is a point in any game where the opposition will start to dominate the game. And that is not just in FM, that's in real life too. Every team will have its 10 or 15 minutes, even if they are the worst team in the league and playing against the top team in the league. They will at some point during that game get their 10 or 15 minutes. And FM is no different. And so when you notice that the momentum is changing, then what you can do is hold your shape. Instruct your team to hold its shape. If you have counter off and hold shape off, it does not mean that the team are not going to counterattack. Now, as you saw, we are counterattacking. We are getting bodies forward, but we're doing it in a slow, deliberate way. Counterattack on, you're going to do it as fast as possible. So Either way, you are still getting people forward. Instruct your team to hold shape, and now it will ask the players to adopt a more considered and patient approach, keeping the ball and retaining their formation before building an attack. So they're no longer going to be getting out of shape by throwing bodies up the pitch. And that now means we are conceding less of these late goals. Once we get momentum back in the game, then we can just click that off and continue to play as we were playing before. But you have to remember that every team will have its 10 minutes. For that 10 minutes, I've just decided to hold my shape, and it seems to be working out. Hold shape is one of the most underused buttons in FM, and it is especially good if you're holding on to a lead. It's my go-to when I need to hold on to a lead. It's very difficult for the opposition to find space if you actually are not getting out of shape. And so that's it for this very short video, just to point out the perils of these two buttons. And I know a lot of people, when they're setting up their tactic, they go here and immediately click those two things without really appreciating what the consequences of that might be. If you cannot counterpress and you are not able to counter effectively, clicking those buttons will cause you more problems than the worth of it. For me, I would need to have a very good defense before I would start to counterattack. Counterattacking is a dangerous thing to do in FM, and you will suffer if you continually counterattack the opposition, especially against teams who are good passing teams and can win the ball effectively. Then you could find yourself in real trouble. Just best leave it off. And if you are concerned about giving up a lead, if you are conceding goals at certain times, then just hold your shape. And that will mean that players are not getting out of position. And that's very important to do, not only in FM, but also in real life. So make sure you're not overdoing counter and counter press. And that's it for this very short video today. If you're brand new to the channel and you like FM content and you love to see people suffer playing the game, I can tell you, you are definitely in the right place. We upload a lot of content on this channel. We upload play-alongs 3 times a week. We go live 3 times a week, and I do tutorials on the weekend. If you're brand new, why not consider hitting that subscribe button, click the bell so you'll be updated when we upload future videos. And give us a like, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I always answer questions. And don't forget, likes and comments are what make the YouTube algorithm push the video out to people who haven't yet had the opportunity to see any of our videos. Once again, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of it. Try this out. Take off the counterattack. Sometimes hold your shape and you'll get better results and you'll concede fewer goals. Give it a try. A lot of people have tried it and have confirmed to me that it does work. And all that remains to be said now is take care, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.